So I think this is good that you're giving us a quote on, you know, our engineering efforts. I mean, I kind of stated my opinion before our last meeting, and what I'm hoping to do is use that information you're giving us, plus the information we're getting from Verizon, from the internet access, you know, over the 20 years, and, you know, working with Mike and the board and the team, project leaders here, you know, maybe try to negotiate a more equitable power purchase agreement with New York Energy. So, thank you for going that extra step again.
Sure.
You guys have any thoughts?
No, thank you, Gino,
So
for
just,
doing it.
so do you want him to move forward with this, having Doug prepare site plans? Or, because I know you're talking about a time constraint and they still would have to go to the ZBA first, because I don't think there's any way they could get away without some variances.
Right, to do all three sites, the Dutch have to go in front of the zoning board of appeals. And, you know, we could do them together along, but it's still gonna take time. You know, I know that time was the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues that we, but I do understand it's a 20-year commitment that we need to basically look at.
Yeah.
So.
Do we need a resolution?
You're gonna spend 1,000, well,
Probably by next.
Do you want to handle your contract issues first, Mike, before you spend money on the site survey?
I think a
Yeah.
lot of those issues should be something we could resolve, but not having dealt with this particular firm before, you don't know how locked into their terms they are, but, you know, if the board, you know, we could probably get quick feedback on those issues, so it might be better to, you know.
I would say, I mean, either way, he's going to have to expend the engineering effort. So whether, and we're probably going to have to pay it initially, you know, whether we negotiate, you know, back out of the contract. I still think we're going to, you know, New York Light's probably not going to pay it. And if they are, you know, we're going to lose another week or 2 or 3 trying to work it out. So, and that's my thought.
Yeah,
I just don't want to expend any funds with Doug Holt. I don't want him to put any time and effort into it that we're going to have to pay for if we're not, you know, solid with New York Light and Energy. So my concern is that we make sure that we have something in place and that we know we're going to go with them before we spend any money with Doug Holt.
you know, Gino, I would like to be the vehicle of that.
Great.
You know, with the board.
That's perfect.
That way, to sit with Doug, understand what he's going to do, and, you know, and Doug's a reasonable guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I expect that everything he's going to say to me is going to be reasonable and fair. But I want, then I'll be the conduit back to the board.
Okay.
I'll send an email and we'll say, okay, we should be prepared. Okay. And,
So we need a resolution then?
Well, I guess not, because Joe wants to talk to Doug Cole first, it sounds like.
I mean, that seems to me to be the next step. And I tried calling him today, but he's on so okay. We'll sit
Just want to
down.
be careful, the next time we meet is 2 weeks.
Doesn't have to.
So we do
What about, okay, you mean in terms of passing a resolution?
Yeah.
that's-
still going to be meetings.
I mean, given the readiness of this company to back out of this agreement, once they learned they had to get variances, I would firm up your relationship with them first.
All right, well, let's.
Before Doug, all Doug is going to do is he's going to draft up some maps and some site plans, which is pretty straightforward. You know, and I'd hate to see us put that money into that, and then this company goes, you know, I don't want to go for this with you guys. See you around.
That's a good point. That's,
All right.
I thought we were, to let the public hearing open, I thought we were going to be in a position tonight to authorize you to do a resolution to formally move forward with them so we can get going. But obviously last time we also said that Mike was going to look at the agreement in more detail.
well, I think what we're doing is holding ourselves accountable to our own zoning. So, we put in a building.
But I think that's not what's holding us up. Well, I think what's holding us up right now is those points you've identified in the contract. There's pretty severe penalties to the town for early termination. Should really be looked at. For example, if you were to terminate before the end of 10 years, and so you decided to terminate at 5 years, you would be responsible for 5 years, 4 years of payments without receiving any. It's a pretty hefty penalty. So there are a number of points like that that probably can be negotiated out.
I mean, I think that we need to take a point, I guess, now, trying to work that stuff out in the next couple of weeks, just a couple of weeks. I mean, I appreciate, I guess I respect your opinion. If you think those things are not in our favor, then we should definitely take the time, the extra couple of weeks to see if we can negotiate them. In a way that doesn't, to Pat's point, I heard him when he was here, he basically said they're not making any money on us, and they're using this as just kind of a test case because they're doing something somewhat unique than they've done in the past. So, I don't want to tick them off either, because I do think this is good for us. It's the right move for us. But I'm definitely okay with having a conversation about it.
Have you been in contact with this attorney?
Well, I sent the email out before to make sure that we're on the same page. Before, I'm not just going to tell their attorney that, these are problems I see. I would like to know that the town, agrees with the position that, there are issues in this agreement that need to be dealt with.
We need a resolution for you to go forward and do this? Or no?
Have you looked at the 12 thing, or whatever that? I don't know, I keep saying 12, it might not be 12.
Yeah, Mike spoke to him, and I didn't actually look at him. Well, you sent out enough for it.
Yeah, I sent a marked up,
track changes, so I guess.
So we're in agreement that you should talk to this?
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely fine with that. My concern is Doug calling it joint farm. We don't have 2 weeks, I don't want to spend $1,000 if we don't need to, especially if these guys start walking pretty heavy, now we need to.
we make a contingent on, authorize them to go forward once the contract issues are resolved to the town's satisfaction.
Did we already pass a resolution about that was moving forward at all on this, that we can kind of fall back on?
It was the letter of intent. And I actually took the resolution off tonight's agenda.
My opinion would be to solidify the contract issue before going forward with Doug Cole. Only because of the fact that you don't know if you're going to go forward with them. You might not be able to hammer out those issues. I know that time is the issue, but at the same time, if you don't have a solid contract in place and you're spending taxpayer dollars here, it could go both ways. And I don't want to happen.
If they want to, work with us, then they're going to have to do the litigation too.
I mean, we'll expedite the process. I mean, we'll have special meetings with the planning board to get the process moving quickly, but at the same time, we do need to take due diligence when we look at these plans. So, but that was just what I thought. I don't know.
No, it's good.
I think you're right,
Good, but so, I guess we'll just ask the project lead and Mike to reach out as quickly as possible with these guys, and if they need to sit down, then we'll have a sit down. And,
I'll allow us tomorrow.
so,
Okay.
just tell them to be patient for a couple more days. I'm gonna be getting in touch with Doug anyway about the bank stabilization, so he's gonna be, if that goes forward, then the next day or two, he's gonna have his hands full, get that started too.
All right, so I'll just wait and see what happens, and Joe, you can let me know. You can be the contact point.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, man. Additional comments from the public? All right, we'll close public comments at 9:47. Councilman concerns? Can you try to be brief? It's up to 3:30 this morning.
I've got nothing, I was just gonna bring up about the solar, and that was already discussed, so.
All right.
I'm making some headway with our fire alarm system, not being able to call out. We've got, by our procurement policy, 3 quotes. I think, what we have not done is to tie the panic buttons that Carol and Michelle and Isla, I think you have one, right, Michelle?
Yes.
How that ties in with this. And when I can find that out, then I'll just add the numbers in.
Okay.
And then we can make a decision.
All right.
I did talk with Wolf. They seem to be the overall most, at this point, and because they're local. And he told me that if we give them the go-ahead, they can have it in like as soon as 2 weeks, maybe a month or 2 months. So it'll be a fast turnaround.
All right, so you're gonna reach out to all 3 of these guys and talk about
Yes.
Michelle's wireless.
Right. And that's the only thing that needs to be done on that.
And that's cool, because that'll give us time to get into the budget for next year. Good work, Joe, very good. Mr. Lou? Councilman Edwards?
I just wanted to bring up you emailing me at 2:09 a.m.
Tell me about it. I went to bed at 3:30 and got up at 7:15.
So let's go home. Come on.
I was going to talk about solar, but we already talked about it, so I was like, I'm good.
I'm good. We'll adjourn the meeting at 9:50. Thank you, everybody.
Are you gonna do a resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Joe seconds it.
Edwards, Esposito, Kuzinski, Esposito, Joyce.
Went to adjourn?
Here goes.